I'm Rick, and I want to talk about butt pads. Why do you have them, and how do I make them? I'm talking about spear gun butt pads, not continence aids. You see them in a variety of shapes. At least on my guns you do. Some of my guns don't even have them. There's basically two functions. The first function is to extend the rear of the gun out a bit further. This often makes it easier to load the spear gun. But the more important function is to spread the load when you're loading a gun, when it spreads across your stomach. Sharp corners and narrow area means that the back of the gun can push into your guts. To pull a rubber can sometimes take 20 to 30 kilos. And if that's a small area pushing into your guts, it can hurt. It can fair make your eyes water, especially if you've only got a thin wetsuit on or no wetsuit at all. When I lived in Darwin and only dived with a Stinger suit, I used to get bruises. So the pad spreads the load. And if it's nicely rounded, there's no corners to stick into you either. What I try to do is get a butt pad that fulfills that function, but also looks good too. Some of my earlier butt pads were rather clunky, heavy, functional. But of late I've tried to get something a bit lighter looking, just as functional, but perhaps a little bit more elegant. So, how do I go about making the butt pad, shaping it, and making sure that it's well attached to the back of the gun? A gun with a butt pad not yet attached. The actual pad itself will be made from this wooden plate. I cut it to a manageable size. And then gave it basic shaping. Dry fit to see if all was in order. Put it in a vise and check to see that the top was dead level. I epoxied both sides, taped it in place, and laid on a lead weight to keep it tight. This wouldn't work so well if you've got kids and dogs around who might bump it. I left it overnight for the epoxy to cure. Then I drilled the holes for the dowels to reinforce it. More epoxy and the dowels were pushed in tight. I left it overnight for the epoxy to cure again, and then I trimmed off the excess dowels. Out with my trusty hand-stitched rasp and started to shape it. Then it's a case of sanding, sealing and varnishing, not forgetting anti-slip. This is the sort of shape I favour now, but that could change as time goes on, of course.